Hello, welcome to the OT meeting room. My name is Deborah Battistella, and I am the owner of Creative Concepts in Occupational Therapy. Today, I come to you, though, as an educator. I teach in an OTA program. I am a fieldwork coordinator for an OTA program, and I'm also an occupational therapy assistant and occupational therapy student fieldwork supervisor. And today I want to speak about the knowledge translation framework. The reason I want to speak about this is because as an educator and a fieldwork supervisor, I love teaching, and sometimes I struggle to help students understand concepts. And I really have been embracing this idea of looking at myself. What is it that I know? Is there something within me where I could do better? Obviously, there's always room to do better. Um, but using a model for practice helps take the pressure off of me. It takes the pressure off of the student and puts the focus on where the struggle truly lies, which is usually applying knowledge. Knowledge application is the challenging piece. And research shows us that that is the biggest reason because people don't often know how to apply knowledge. That's the reason that research and evidence is not applied to practice. So I was thinking about how can we use this knowledge translation framework to help a student along a path. So as an academic fieldwork coordinator, I'm aware of the students who are going on to fieldwork. I know who some of the fieldwork educators are. I'm getting to know others. And the process that we use at our school incorporates the occupation-centered intervention assessment. So we're having students look at occupation-based interventions. And some of the answers that we receive make me question, is this, they're not truly occupation-centered when students think they are. So I think, is this a lack of understanding on the student? Is this a lack of understanding on the part of the fieldwork educator? Where is the barrier? Where is the breakdown? And also with student projects, some students are able to create stellar projects, and other students' projects are underwhelming and they lack appropriateness from my perspective, for the setting that they're in. So I think, how can we help each other, help students do better? How can we help ourselves do better? So if we take a look at this framework, you'll see inside of the circle there's a triangle, and it speaks to knowledge creation. We're inquiring. Once we have the knowledge, we have to synthesize the knowledge, and then we create a tool or a product or an intervention. And this is where we have the opportunity to tailor our knowledge. And this can be difficult for some people, which is where the mentorship piece comes in. And we don't have to know everything as a mentor, we just need to be open to learning. So I like to start at the bottom on the outside of that circle. If we look at that bottom box, it says identify a problem, and then we're going to identify, review, and select knowledge. So this is where the two interplay. So which piece of knowledge, what understanding do we have that can help, um, that is appropriate for helping with a problem? And then once we have taken this information, hopefully from some research that we found and the scientific evidence that demonstrates that something is appropriate. So this is very appropriate for interventions because we want to use the evidence-based interventions to help our clients make the most progress that they can make and get back to their lives or be as independent as possible, achieving their goals. So then if we move to the left up that circle to the next box, we have adapt knowledge to the local context. So we have to think about, how does this knowledge fit with this client or this problem that we're seeing, um, in the clinic or at the site, at the fieldwork site location. And then the next thing we need to look at, are there any barriers to using this knowledge? And I love this question because we look at ourselves as the barrier to using this knowledge within myself. Is it within my colleagues, the student? Is it within the client that we're working with? Or is it within our workplace culture? So, clinic culture or an overarching agency culture. And when we take a look at those barriers, we can come up with strategies to circumvent them or just eliminate them. And then we will select, tailor, and implement our intervention. So, all of this information is so appropriate to use with a student because we can use this model with the student and work with the student to help them connect the dots for these pieces that may be missing. And at the same time, we're helping ourselves. So we're working on this together and it's not so intimidating. I know sometimes fieldwork educators get a little frustrated with students or they're not sure always what to do themselves. And that's okay. We don't always have to know what to do. And when we take a framework like this knowledge translation framework, it takes some of the pressure off of us and it can help us take some of the pressure off of the student. So, as we select and tailor and implement the interventions that we choose or the projects that we're having a student make, we're helping them to see how those projects will fit within our setting. Don't be afraid to tell a student if you are not happy with the quality of work or with even the idea that they're coming up with. Work together with them to come up with an appropriate intervention. And I know I was very fortunate when I was a student. I did my field work in clinics where they knew what they wanted and I was given some freedom to create something based on what they needed, which was a lot of fun. It was challenging, but it was fun for me. And I had excellent guidance, just asking questions. And some people are afraid to ask questions. So that's a thing that I do. I do encourage people to ask questions and see if we can solve those together, come up with the answer together. Okay, so then as they're creating their project, you can monitor their knowledge use. You can ask the student to show you what they've got as they go along the process. And again, give them feedback that is meaningful. If you are underwhelmed with a student project, I encourage you to push them a little bit and help them to see how something might not be appropriate or might not work for your setting. And through this process, you can evaluate the outcomes. So if you do it over time, then the final outcome will be better. And then take a look at the next arrow is how can you sustain this knowledge use? So on our end for the academic fieldwork coordinator piece, we encourage our students to do self-reflections while they're on fieldwork, and they use this occupation-centered intervention assessment. They use it for a few weeks in a row, and they do that for both level 2 fieldworks. And that's our attempt to help them implement that into their practice so that they have this sustained knowledge use. And then it just is a cycle. It just goes back to the problem. So then I want to speak also to a fieldwork educator or a fieldwork supervisor. Think about your own self. How are you evaluating these outcomes as they relate to you and your site that you work at? How are they relating to your ability to help grow a student? And if a student is creating a newer type of intervention that you've never used in your clinic or that you want to use more, then thinking about how are you going to continue using that intervention and hopefully improving your clinical outcomes. So if you want to know more, there's a website, ktdrr.org. It's a wonderful website for helping to understand how to apply knowledge. And I hope you found this beneficial. Make it a great day.